Hi friends, we're gonna draw a snake today and we're gonna work on a couple things as artists. We're gonna work on how to draw something that is overlapping or behind, and we're gonna work on a pattern. So the pattern will be up to you, but the over, under, overlapping, we're gonna do together. So I'm gonna start with a pencil and then we'll outline with Sharpie. And it's important for you to draw lightly. I'm gonna draw kind of dark so that you can see, but it's important for you to draw lightly so that you can erase. Because when we're doing the snake, we wanna go over, under, and we might need to erase a little bit. So the way that I started is I actually like to turn my paper this way. It helps me hold my pencil correctly and draw straight down. So remember, you can turn your paper any way you want to. Even though the picture is going to end up like this, it's okay to have your paper go this way. So I drew those lines pretty lightly. You can barely see them because I'm going to erase some of them. Then right here in the upper right-hand corner, we're gonna do the snake's head. And that's kind of like a leaf shape. So you can start at the top, curve down on one side, go back, curve down on the other side. Okay, then we're gonna do this first part of the snake, which is kind of like a backwards J. We're going to go from his head and curve and loop and stop right there. And then a second line, and we're trying to keep the snake about the same thickness. That gets a little tricky, but that's our challenge today. And then look, I stopped my lines here because he's going to go behind the branch right there. And then these lines will be erased. So imagine that he's going behind and you start right here, curve over a big curve like that, and then follow this line. Imagine he's behind and curve. Okay, so now I want my snake to go in front. So I'm going to overlap. Let's just do the straight ones first, like that. And then we're gonna do another one of these curves. A little curve, little curve. Okay, now he's gonna go behind to follow him here. Another curve, another curve. And then I'm just gonna do his tail, tip like that. So can you guess which lines I'm going to erase? You see them, right? So the snake is in front of the branch here. So now I don't need those lines anymore. But it was easier to do the branch all at once. So if the branch is inside those parts of the snake, that's where you erase. Okay, now I can do the rest with Sharpie because I don't need to do any more erasing, but you can continue with pencil. You have more time. I'm gonna speed this up a little bit. So now that you can see, does it look like he's going behind and in front? I'm going to add some little branches. Remember we talked about our letter Y branches in art before? You can add a few little letter Y branches coming out of your big branch. Going over those pencil lines. This gets tricky right here. Go nice and slow and make sure you stop right at the snake. Okay, so that's all your hard work. There's another line that I need to erase. Now that I added these, I don't need that line anymore. And I really don't need any of my pencil lines anymore. Give a sweeping erase. Then you can add some leaves to your branches if you'd like to. And the eyes are going to be on the side. So I'm gonna do the same shape as the head. And then his pupils are kind of like stripes more than circles. You could do a tongue if you want to. Now the pattern is up to you. I did triangles, but see how I curved the line of the triangle? Remember that the snake is curved. So if you do stripes, he's round, he's not flat, right? If he was flat, I would do a straight line, but because he's round, I'm gonna curve my lines a little bit. And this snake is gonna have stripes. Your snake could have triangles. He could have a stripe, then a triangle. He could have a stripe, then a circle. It's up to you. He can be an imaginary snake. He doesn't have to be a snake that is really in nature. I could put a diamond there. Maybe I could even add a diamond in between my pattern here. That gets a little bit tricky. And when you're doing something that is in a pattern, not in a straight line, for me, it's easy to do a diamond like that, but this diamond, it'll be really hard. So I'm going to turn my paper so that my hand can still do the diamond straight. So let's see, diamond stripe, diamond. I have to pay attention to my pattern. Turn it this way. Turn it back this way. Oh, the diamond was trickier than just the stripes. Okay. Now I can use oil pastel. For this guy, I just used oil pastel on the small areas that I thought would be hard to paint. The eyes, the pattern, the leaves, and the rest I painted with watercolor. So I'm gonna kind of leave that up to you. But when you're doing your pattern, remember, if a shape repeats, the pattern should repeat with colors as well. So if I have a yellow diamond, all my diamonds will be yellow. If the stripes are red, every stripe will be red. Remember, when you color nice and hard, you get the dark color and the paint will not touch it. Okay, so let's pretend that I've colored in all of my areas that I need to be colored in with oil pastel that are small. And then the larger areas, what color should I do his eyes? I like this light green. And you can always do the pupils again if you need to, if they get kind of covered up. Okay, so then my watercolors, and decide what one color you want for your snake. Let's say I want my snake to be orange. This is a crazy snake. So then I'm carefully painting him. And then I would suggest, if you have lots of time, take a break, go have a snack, go run around the backyard, and let that snake dry before you do the background. You guys know why, right? So that the colors don't bleed together. I don't need a lot of paint, but remember, these paints need water. So I continue with my snake. Then I could choose a brown for the branches. And if that branch is wet and I do a blue sky, they might bleed together, right? So that's why we take our time and let things dry in between, especially if you're at home and you have longer than we do in art class. You can do this in steps. And then a blue for the background. And you're gonna go carefully around. That's pretty dark, so how do I make it lighter if I want to? Add some more water. See how the orange is gonna bleed with the blue a little bit because I didn't let it dry? See how that's bleeding? It's okay if that happens, but if you don't want it to happen, what do? Let it dry first. Okay. And then when you're finished, you'll have all the white areas covered. But remember, you can do it in steps. You don't have to do it all at once. All right, friends, have fun.